Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you're doing fantastic. We're continuing our reading of the Tafseer, which has deeply expanded my understanding of Islam thus far. I don't see how you should not read it. You know what I'm saying? You should literally have to read it. We were dealing with Surah Al-Baqarah verses 149 and 150. Let's continue where we left off. As he is the knower of what is hidden, he tells us that the validity of this matter was well established for people of the book, but they concealed this testimony knowingly. So the concealment of testimony, we know you're not supposed to hide any knowledge that you have, right? Let it out. As Allah's instructions to face towards the Qibla is a great blessing, and His kindness and mercy to this Ummah are persistent. His kindness and mercy to this Ummah are persistent, and every time He prescribed something new for them, it was a great blessing. He said, "And it is so that I may complete my blessing upon you." The foundation of this blessing is guidance to His religion. Okay, so the Quran is the guidance, right? It's the glad tidings, it's the admonitions, it's a book of clear signs for people who know, for people who think, right? And reflect. And it will help us avoid any obstacles and impediments that would decrease our due in the hereafter, essentially. So it's definitely a blessing book for us to be guided by sending His messenger, peace be upon him, and revealing His book to him. Then other blessings came after that to complete the initial blessing. The blessings that were bestowed from the beginning of the Prophet's mission until his time to depart from the world drew close, could not be enumerated. Okay, so the blessings that were the initial, but also the blessings that were bestowed from the beginning of the Prophet's mission. Okay. For Allah bestowed upon him blessings and bounty, and He bestowed upon His Ummah that which completed the blessing that He had bestowed upon him and them. And Allah revealed to him the words, here we go. This day have I perfected your religion for you, completed my blessing upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as your religion. Al-Ma'idah 5 and 3. Okay, so the book of guidance, the Prophet, and the blessings of bounty that were given to the Prophet that he used to benefit his Ummah and their increasement of the rate in which they could be accepted into the hereafter, right? Praise be to Allah for His bounty, which cannot be enumerated or quantified, let alone giving sufficient thanks for it. So I remember, like, when we used to do the Thankful Friday videos, it's like you just can keep going for all the blessings you have, right? And that could be a rebuttal that I would say to somebody who's very nihilistic, black-pilled, as they call it. You know, they have all these different phrases they use now. Black-pilled is like black-eyed nihilist. He's like just somebody who's so pessimistic and cynical that they've really kind of just like soured on the world. They're very salty, you know? This could be a moment where you would say, well, the bounty of your maker, to quantify it in such a way is like trying to tell like if there's a housefly, trying to tell him all the trophies I earned in Red Dead Redemption 2. You know, it's like, or trying to explain to my guinea pig, how important it is to itemize certain deductions for your tax returns. You see what I'm saying? It's like at a certain point, we have to kind of realize that just because we can have Tesla, just because we can go to the moon and have smartphones, that doesn't mean that if somebody is suffering in the world without those material toys, that they are somehow not blessed in another way, right? That's how I look at it when I read it. And, even though we'll never be able to sufficiently give the amount of gratitude that could supply the well thereof of blessings, still we should give thanks every day and have intentions to fortify our sincerity, right? And that you may be guided. That is, that you may learn the truth and act upon it. So learning the truth and then acting upon it. It's not simply learning it and then not incorporating it into your life. By his mercies towards his slaves, Allah, glory be to him, has made the means of guidance very easy for them, and has described it very clearly to them. As part of that, he uses the stubborn people who argue against the truth, and thus the truth becomes more manifest, and his signs become clearer. Now, so notice how he said arguing. So St. Thomas Aquinas, in his Summa Theologica, in the beginning of the book, talks about how philosophy, the people arguing about philosophy with, secularists and such, that he could use the tools of philosophy to expound upon the rhetoric, which would make light upon the dogmas of their religion more clear and help make Catholics more aware of what it is they believe and how they should argue for virtues instead of the vices. So here in this Islamic point, by As-Sa'di, right, in his Tafseer, he's saying here too that the stubborn people who want to argue, basically, do a little bit of dialogue, even in those moments, people around them will learn from that exchange, which further goes into a point connectively how important it is to have the freedom exchange of ideas and the freedom of speech. Because through another person's stubbornness, you yourself can learn more about yourself, right? And the invalidity of falsehood and the lack of any foundation become apparent. Yeah, that's why sometimes you gotta let certain people have at it, and other times you gotta walk away and be like, you know what, there's no help here. But other times you have to kind of go for it. Were it not for falsehood opposing truth, truth would not be clear to most people. Very true. Yeah, that's how I felt quite a few times now. I mean, Islam slowly does that to you. I think that's part of the softening, is where you start to see things and then it changes and you're like, man, I don't want to do that anymore. And then you become better and better. And it becomes clear the truth thereof of kind of what illusions you used to think and how it is sort of just, pomp and glamour and idiocy. Things become clear when contrasted with their opposites. Quite true. Have to say, that is just comes more and more true every day. Were it not for the night, the virtue of the day would not be known. Were it not for ugliness, the virtue of beauty would not be known. Were it not for darkness, the benefit of light would not be known. Were it not for falsehood, truth would not become so clear. Praise be to Allah for that. So, yes, beautiful thing for us to recognize. We will learn, and he perfected the religion, we follow the rules, we learn in, and we may not be able to sufficiently thank for the bounty, but we can still attempt to praise every day, regardless of how we quantify it and enumerate it. Very, very interesting.